we are doing these sessions about interview questions, and we have just gathered like 10, 9 questions as of now. And we'll talk about all these things. We'll also talk about why they ask this kind of question, right? That is also important. We should understand that when you are going for a testing interview, right, job interview, there are different rounds, right? So generally, the second and third round are generally technical, right? There they ask this kind of questions. Fine. And we'll talk about what can be the good answer, how to present it. I'm starting with the eighth question first, and there is a reason why I'm doing it. Because most of us thinks that this is a very simple question and we can answer it. And because we are working in testing, that's our bread and butter, and we are already doing this thing on daily basis. So whatever I am giving my answer with full confidence is correct, right? But the thing is, you never know how uh, you know it will be perceived by the other person or the interviewer, right? And moreover, this question is a technical question. If you're taking it like it's a very casual question, it's not like that. It's a very technical, straightforward question. The problem with us is we see testing types in different ways, right? So we have to categorize it. Okay. When we say type of testing, I'm telling you, don't give the answer like there are different. So let's see. If somebody will ask what is type of testing, what could be the not so good answer and what is the good answer? Okay. So I'm starting with something like this. Somebody will ask me what are the types of testing, when to use those kind of testing. So we can start with um, there are different types of testing, like sanity testing, regression testing, functional testing, non-functional testing, load testing, right? And we do functional testing during sprint in 15 days. Non-functional testing we do as and when required. Regression testing we do whenever there is a release. We do regression testing for to check if there is any impact with the new build or with the new bug fixes if there is any impact. Okay, one answer. Fair enough. It looks good, maybe, right? It looks good. Okay, you explained about everything. That okay, types of testing. But believe me, type of testing is a very kind of um, broad question, right? You cannot say that only this five type of testing is a type of testing. First thing, it's like if somebody will ask you that what is animal, right? And you will explain that the animals have this legs and all, right? They live here and these are the examples. So that will not work. You have to categorize it. So when somebody is asking type of testing, you have to tell them that based on the category of this particular category, it will be like this. I am suggesting something here. So when somebody asks types of testing, follow something which is there in, either in IEEE 829 standard. Okay, there is a standard for the testing. Or follow ISTQB material. There also they have a particular picture about testing and all. Okay. What I remember is the thing is you should start with there are two type of testing, static and dynamic testing. Okay. You should not start with there is a two type of testing, black box and white box. That is again a mistake. You have to understand the hierarchy. Static testing, dynamic testing. In a static testing, you do not execute the code generally, right? So you do walkthrough inspection and all that will come under static testing. Dynamic testing, there are different parts. There you have functional, non-functional, white box, black box, and all. Sanity testing, smoke testing, regression testing are not type of testing. Technically, I'm telling you. Sanity testing, regression testing are the group of the test cases which you gather it and you do your own execution, right? But as far as what kind of testing you want to do, right? So it's there is a clear distinction about black box testing where you do not see the internal things, code and all, and you perform your testing based on whatever requirement is there. Where in white box you perform in a other way. Then in white black box testing also there is a functional and non-functional. In functional you have all those, you can explain that in functional we do there is a different way of doing your what we say functional testing, right? Non-functional will be like load testing, performance testing, accessibility testing, security testing, usability testing. Those are non-functional testing. So you have to understand the hierarchy. Probably I'll search in Google something and I'll tell you where is that picture and you can follow it. Okay. So are you guys like agree with me what I'm saying about type of testing? Don't give like sanity testing and regression testing as a type of testing. Okay. You can put it in chat window. You agree with me what I'm saying about type of testing? It's an important question. If you're taking it lightly, your interview will go wrong. Okay. Now I'm going to the first question. Let's understand in most of the interviews nowadays, um, first of all, requirements are generally, where automation knowledge is also required. Now, when we say automation, you have to be good on the programming side, especially when you are going for, let's say, Selenium automation or Cypress test automation, right? Where scripting is required. So there they will expect that you know the basics of programming concepts, object-oriented concepts, and all those things. Right? Now, you have to be very well prepared. When we say well prepared, don't prepare it theoretically. The more you will do practical, you will be more confident on your answers. Okay. So, for example, especially for the Java part, learn at least core Java part. It will take time. Don't be in hurry. Generally, the problem with us, it's like when we are searching for testing job, we think that okay, 50 Java interview questions, let's mug it, or 50 programming questions or different kind of search, linear search, sequential search. Let's do till that and we are okay, or learn some theoretical of the exception handling part for long term. I'm saying if you want to become a better test engineer, learn any programming in detail, practical. So for example, if you are learning Java, actually have a book, or if you're following any online session, actually follow it religiously, and actually do all practicals. So I'm telling you, I'm not going to give you what is constructor and all as of now, because that you will get it from anywhere. What I'm saying is, if you do not have at least 10 to 15 programs in your system in Eclipse or any IDE where you have implemented constructor and you have used it in different ways, okay, until you have done it right, you cannot say you know about the constructor, right? I'm talking in very practical way, because until you will do it, then only you will remember it, how it works, right? This is tricky question, I believe. Like object create, how many ways you can do object creation? That's a different. So, so creating of the object is like through new keyword. So sometimes if you don't know the answer, at least reach to the point where you will put all valid things, right? So the thing is, if somebody asks you, how many different ways to create the object, right? something like this. So let's say I don't know the answer for this, but whatever exact true thing, right? Exact valid thing, at least reach to that point. So for example, I can say that whenever we want to create the object, we use the new keyword with, let's say the example is, if I want to create an object of employee class, I can put employee E1 is equals to new employee, which will create the object. Okay, basic way. Search about in Google, maybe you will get other answers about different ways of object creation. Constructor is a very important concept, so you should explain it properly. That um, in a class, when you create a method with the same name as class name, that is called constructor. And construct, then you see, definition is important. So any question, technical question, has three parts. One, what it is. Second, why we use it. And third, example or the implementation. So what it is, okay, constructor is a kind of method which has the same name as class name. Done. Then second part is very simple, like why you use it. So constructor, we use it so that we can initialize the class level variables, right? First thing. Second, it's like it is, or you can explain about it, like it is called automatically whenever we create the object. Third thing, it doesn't have the return type. Okay. And then you can explain about, there are parameterized constructor, there is non-parameterized constructor, and all those things, right? So then interviewer will get impressed. Okay, you know constructor and you are able to explain about it. But interviewer will get to know if you have mugged it, right? So as of now, if somebody will give me the answer in a one way flow of about constructor, I get a sense that this is just mugged up answer. Okay. When you do it practically, you understand it, then it will be very easy for you to talk about constructor. Okay. The third part about like how you implement it, then give the example that, okay, if we want to create the parameterized constructor, then we can create a constructor with passing on the argument. And then while creating the object, we can pass the values. So for example, when there is an employee class, there can be integer employee ID and let's say string name can be two class level variables. And whenever we'll create the object, employee E1 is equals to new employee, in the bracket, we can pass those, let's say employee ID and the name. Okay, fine. Second question is about abstract class. So abstract class and interface are very, you know, um, what is a famous, and interviewer loves loves these questions. Okay, it's their number one question if they want to ask to the, generally for the test automation engineer, they'll ask you this somewhere. So again, read about it, implement it. Okay, but in general, I can tell you, like the thing is, abstraction, when you want to implement the abstraction as a concept, right, in object oriented programming, these are the useful concepts. um, in abstract class, you can have concrete and non-concrete functions. Interface, if you want to implement what we say absolute abstraction, I'm not able to remember the technical word for that, right? When you want to do, full out abstraction, then you use interfaces, right? In interface, you will have, uh, I think, static and final. All the variables will be public, static, final by default. In abstract classes, you can have uh, non-static variable, non-final variable. So read about it. There are 5 to 6 points you have to read. You have to understand. Make abstract class. in your Eclipse or whatever IDE you are using, implement it in different ways, right? Okay. So interface can have multiple interface can be implemented to a single class. In abstract class, it's like you cannot, what we say, you cannot instantiate it, right? Abstract class, you can only like extend it. You cannot create objects of abstract class. Okay. So those are different uh, differences, but you have to tell this with conviction, not just for passing the interview. It's like you should know it. You as a engineer, test automation engineer, we should know this thing. you Framework explanation, yes. Why they ask this thing? So generally for the senior people, let's say 4+ years, right? So the thing is, uh, they want test automation engineers who understand their framework, so that whenever they will join, they will understand their existing framework also. Or if they want to create a new framework, they want someone who can create the framework also, right? So framework explanation is a very, very important question. So whenever somebody will ask you, explain your automation framework, right? So don't start. So I always talk about what you should not do. Don't start with I have Eclipse in my system and we create the test cases there, and this the way it works, something like this, right? We create the page object thing, and then there is Jenkins involved and all, right? This is one way to explain about the framework, right? There is another way to explain about the framework. Let me show you quickly. So let's see how vague it is, right? When I'm searching in Google types of testing, people are putting different answers, right? Let's search it again. Sorry. Types, types of testing. See, there are thousand ways people are putting about what is testing. This is different this is different image, this is different image, right? Somebody is saying just there's 1 2 3 4 5 around 8 type of testing, right? And then somebody is creating this pyramid also. So let's understand, this is about the amount of testing, in category wise, the level. This is level of testing, this is not type of testing. Okay. But when you search in Google, you and this is like smoke testing, sanity testing, regression testing. See, this is again maybe a type of testing, but you have to understand what category it is, right? This is a different category altogether. Okay. So what I was saying about static and dynamic, I'm not okay. Don't say that manual testing and automation testing are the type of testing and we do it this way. No, 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 that is again a bad answer. Okay, I'm still searching. Uh, I know there is static and dynamic part. So automation testing, I do not agree. It's like it's not like a technically like type of testing. It's not. It's like execution pattern. How you do, how you're executing your test case. So automation is one of the way. Okay. Uh, uh, are you able to see static and dynamic somewhere? This is not uh, R. Just a minute. Okay, okay. Let's see this one. Yes, this one looks good. It's from Geeks for Gigs, and there must be a diagram here. This one. This is good. Static testing techniques. So there are like type of testing, static testing, dynamic testing, and there are now techniques. So to follow that static testing, there will be these ways. Okay. To follow the dynamic testing, there are different ways: structured, experience based, specification based. Then you can say in this category, these things will come. Okay, it's like this. Okay, coming back to another question about the framework, right? So you can explain it in this way. Let me open it. So whenever somebody asks you about the framework part, don't be in hurry. Ask them to give you a paper pencil if it is a face-to-face conversation. Um, in fact, if it is online, you can draw the picture. Then they will get, more confidence on you that, okay, you're drawing a picture. That means you know how the things are interlinked, something like this. This I have created, right? So for whenever I want to make people explain about my framework, right? So what I say generally, it's like my framework is big. So don't copy this answer. Okay, you have to make your own answer. So the thing is, my framework on in the central, basically we are using one Selenium TestNG framework, right? And uh, we are using Mavenize project, right? We have linked our build life cycle to Jenkins, and we see the reports in Jenkins itself, and we distribute the report. Uh, in the core, if we talk about the type of utilities or the libraries we are using Apache POI or some PDF check libraries we are using, or Cucumber libraries we are using to implement BDD. We collect the test data from the external file like properties file or Excel sheet. We are using extend report plugin also to generate the report. Once the report is generated, we distribute it to our team members and the stakeholders so that they can see the result. That's it. This is about the framework part. If they ask you something then related to this, they can ask you cross question like, okay, if you're use what kind of are you using page object model, can you explain about it? Then go ahead with, okay, we are using page object design pattern where we keep our page elements separate with the actions on those elements or functions on those elements. Okay, but framework, somebody asks you, design it. It's like architectural part, right? So somebody is ask you, how is your test automation framework? You have to make a picture. Okay, fine. Coming back to this framework explanation is fine. Now, this API related question part, let's see that thing now.